Hello, good afternoon. So, in this lecture, we'll be studying about the sets, so fundamentals about the set and set operations that we are about to study in this lecture. So, let us start with the introduction and the definition of the set. So, sets are one of the basic building blocks for the types of objects considered in discrete mathematics. So, it is a basic building block for the types of objects that are considered in the discrete mathematics. So, for example, say a set A, we can define it as elements of like say 1, 2, 3. So, this is a basic building block for discrete mathematics. So, these sets are important for counting. Then these are important for programming languages, which have the set operations. For example, they say object-oriented programming languages. So there are set of certain objects and the classes, and we have a relation among these classes like derived classes, subclasses, superclasses, and so on. So in that, we will be requiring the concepts about set. Set theory is an important branch of mathematics. Many different systems of axioms have been used to develop set theory. So, the set theory is important in database management system where you have the different data collected into different tables, and these different tables have the relation among each other with the help of private key, then foreign key, and so on. So, at that time also, you will be requiring the concepts about set theory. A set is an unordered collection of objects. Now, the word unordered is important here. It is the collection of unordered objects. For example, say the students in this class. So, irrespective of their roll numbers, irrespective of their names, or irrespective of their marks, whatever is the collection of the students. So, it may be in the any order, which will be called as the set. Another example says the chairs in the classroom. Okay, so let us take an example. So the objects in the set are called the elements or members of the sets. For example, say A is defined as 1, 2, 3. So these objects are 1, 2, 3. So these are called as the elements or the members of this set A. A set is said to contain its elements. Set is said to contain its element. Or another example says set S, which contains the alphabets as A, B, C. So these are the elements or the members of this set. And the set S is containing all these elements. The notation A belongs to A denote that A is an element of set A. So this notation is read as belongs to. That means it is a part of that particular set. So element A is a part of set A. So set A is a notation. Normally the capital letters are used as a notation to the sets. If A is not a member of A, right, A does not belongs to A. So if A is a member of A, then we use this symbol to represent that it is a part of or member of that particular set. And if it is not, then we should use the same symbol but strike it in the vertical manner. So this symbol is used to represent that element A is not part of set A. Describing a set, so there are two methods used. First method that we will be studying is called as the roster method. First method is the roster method. So this roster method is used as the name of the set with the capital letter equals to curly brackets and the elements of the set separated by a comma. Elements of the set are separated by the comma. So this is a description or a writing method of a set. So here order is not important, as we have said that set is a unordered collection of the elements. So order is not important. So set ABCD and BCAD. So if you check, the members are same but in different order. So it will not affect the set. The set is same, that is yes. Each distinct object is either a member or not. Listing more than once does not change the set. Okay, so another example, say S is equals to ABCD. And here you can see that this element B is repeated twice, C is repeated twice. But repeating the letters or multiple occurrences of the element does not change the set. That means this ABCD, set is same as A, B, C, B, C, D. That means elements of this set are A, B, C, D, and in this set the elements are same. Only their multiple copies are there, but this will not affect the set. So we will call this set S is a collection of 4 alphabets A, B, C, D. A set is a collection of 4 alphabets A, B, C, D. Okay, so multiple occurrences does not affect this set. Ellipses. Now here you should use the ellipses. So these 3 dots are called as the ellipses. Note here, these 3 dots are called as the ellipses. So these ellipses may be used to describe a set without listing all the elements when the pattern is clear. When the pattern is clear, we should not list all the elements. For example, say if you want to describe the 26 alphabets of English language. So there are 26 elements, but we should not, for writing these 26 elements will take a lot of time, will take a lot of space. So instead of that, this ellipse pattern is used. So we know that the starting letters are A, B, C, D. Then if you put a dot, 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 meaning of that is this series is continued up to Z. This series is continued up to Z. That means in between elements are from E, F, G, H, I, J, K, then X, Y, Z, up to X, Y, Z. Okay, so this dot pattern or ellipse pattern is used when there is a continuity of elements or there is a relation among the sets, relation among the set members. Set of all vowels in the English alphabet can be described as set V equals to, so you can use any letter to name the set, but you should use relevant letter. As this is a set of vowels, so we are using here V. Even though if you use A or O or S, that will not make any sense. But yeah, it should be the relevant. Whenever we are naming variables, whenever we are naming classes, objects, at that time, there should be some relevance. Okay, so that's why V equals to A, E, I, O, U is the set of all vowels. Set of all odd positive integers less than 10. Okay, now how you can represent this set as O, odd positive integers. This set is for odd positive integers. So O is equals to 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Okay, so this is up to 10, only 5 members are there. And if you have been asked the set of all odd positive numbers up to 100, then the description would have changed. So set of all positive integers less than 100. Okay, now how you will write? So total number of elements in this set, all positive integers. Positive integers starts from 1. So set of all positive integers less than 100, that means there are total 99 elements of this set. Total 99 elements of this set. And it will require a lot of space to represent all the values in the set. So for that reason, what we will use? We use the ellipse notation. So see here how we have described this set as S is equals to 1, 2, 3, then 3 dots. It indicates that the pattern will continue. Pattern will continue. That means every digit is incremented by 1. So this pattern will be continued up to 99. Then next, set of all integers less than 0. All integers less than 0. Now can you tell me how many integers which are less than 0? It is -1, -2, -3, -4, dot, 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 up to infinity. Up to infinity. So these are represented using S equals to dot, dot, dot. Now this is increasing order in the right hand side. We are incrementing a number in the right hand side. So dot, 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 -3, -2, -1. It indicates that it starts from the infinity and coming up to -3, -2, -1, which is the last number, which is less than 0. So this is how the roster method can be used to represent the sets. Then some important sets that are available in the world that we will understand. So first set is a set of natural numbers. So set of natural numbers. Now if you search on the internet, you will find in some resources 0 is given as a set of natural numbers. In some books, it is considered as natural numbers are whole numbers. So here in discrete mathematics, we will consider set of natural numbers which starts from 0, 1, 2, 3 up to infinity. So this will be required whenever you will go for group theory, then rings. At that time, many times we will be requiring this important sets, and we should be knowing the exact definition that is considered in a discrete mathematics. Z is a set of integers. Z is a set of integers, and it starts from minus infinity and goes up to positive infinity. So minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, 2, 3 up to infinity is a set of all integers. Set of positive integers. Now, as it is said, as a positive integer will start from 1. Positive integer will start from 1. So it is 1, 2, 3 up to infinity. So note difference between this natural set and positive integers. 0 is included in natural numbers, and in set of positive integers, 0 is excluded. Only difference is between whether 0 is present or not. So remember, we are considering 0 as a part of natural numbers, and 0 is not part of positive integers. Set of real numbers. So it is very hard to describe the set of real numbers, because if you consider two digits, let us say 0 and 1, even if you consider these two digits, there are infinity real numbers in between this. There are infinity real numbers in between this. For example, say 0.1, 0.01, 0.001, 0.00001, and so on. So in between two digits, you will find infinity number of real numbers. So that's why it is hard to describe. Similarly, set of positive real numbers. So real numbers means any number, that is a fractional, 1 by 2, 1 by 3, 1 by 4, 0.1, 0.2, 0.005, 4.15. So all these are the real numbers. And last is set of complex number. So complex numbers are represented as the real part and the imaginary parts. So 2i. This is one of the example of complex number. Complex number have two parts. One is a real part. So this is a real part, and this is a imaginary part. So this is also infinite set. So these are some of the important sets whose reference will be required in the discrete mathematics. So remember this all important sets. Next, notation. First we have seen the roster method. Now next we will study the set builder notation. So this is the another method to represent the set. So how this method works? So it specifies the property or properties that all members must satisfy. It specifies the property or properties that all members must satisfy. For example, say yes is the name of set, which is equals to curly bracket x. X is considered to be element of set S. X is considered to be variable element of set X. Yes, where x is this vertical line is read as such that element x such that x is positive integer less than 100. X is a positive integer less than 100. So this is the property. What is the property? X is a positive integer less than 100, and all the elements of set should satisfy this property. That means we should write this set S as equals to positive integer means starts from 1, 2, 3 dot ellipse pattern up to 99. So this is the definition. That means one element is satisfying the property, it is a positive integer and less than 100. 2 is a positive integer less than 100. 3 is positive integer less than 100. Similarly, 99 is a positive integer less than 100. Second example, x is an odd positive integer less than 10. X is a odd positive integer less than 10. So 1 is an odd and it's positive integer. So it is satisfying the property. 2 is positive but it is not odd. So 2 cannot be the part of this set. So 2 cannot be the part of set. So we will remove this 2. So instead we will consider the second element as 3, then 5, then 7, then 9. So 1 is satisfying the property, 3 is satisfying the property, 5 is satisfying the property, similarly 7 and 9. Okay, so in set builder notation, it specifies the property by representing some letter here, usually a x. such that X is an satisfying particular property. So here it is satisfying the property as odd positive integer less than 10. Here it is satisfying the property as positive integer less than 100. So there are two notations normally used. One is a roster notation, second is a set builder notation. And when the sets are very large, at that time this set builder notation is very handy to represent the set. For example, say if you want to represent a set of natural numbers, so we'll write this as S equals to X such that X is natural number. Okay, so with this we have represented all the elements of set S by representing the property. Next is interval notation. Okay, now this is important to understand. Not frequently used in discrete mathematics, but you should be knowing what is the interval notation. Okay, now consider this interval notations are represented using two kinds of the brackets. One is square bracket, another is a round bracket. Meaning of the square bracket is less than or equals to. Meaning of the square bracket is a less than equals to. And meaning of this curly bracket is less than. Meaning of this round bracket is a less than. Okay, so both are square brackets, meaning of that X such that A is less than equals to X, less than equals to B. So less than equals to for this and less than equals to for this. So here less than equals to, here less than equals to. Both the brackets are square brackets. So both the signs are less than equals to. So this is the interval notation. So for example, say if it is represented as 1, 5, meaning of that this is a set contains element as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X is greater than equals to A, that is 1, and should be less than equals to B, that is 5. So all the elements in between this, including 1 and 5, are part of this set. Second, now note here we have the square bracket at first position, round bracket at second position. That means less than equals to at first position and less than at second position. So if the same notation 1, 5, so this will be represented as, can you tell me, 1, 2, 3, 4, these many elements. 5 is not included. Why 5 is not included? Because X is less than 5. And 5 is not less than 5. 5 is equals to 5. So that's why 1, 2, 3, 4. So this element is excluded. The element which is nearest to round bracket is excluded. Similarly, third notation, if the round bracket is at the first position, for example, 1, 5, the elements of set will be 2, 3, 4, and 5. Because X is greater than A, so 1 cannot be included, and X is less than equals to B. So that's why 2, 3, 4, 5. And final notation, now you can tell me if the set is represented in interval notation as 1, 5, then the elements of the set will be 2, 3, and 4. Round bracket, both elements are excluded. So this is the interval notation that you should be knowing. So these are called as the closed interval notation and the open interval notation. Now next property of the set, let us understand what is meant by universal set and the empty set. So first, the universal set U is the set containing everything currently under consideration. U is the set containing everything currently under consideration. Okay, so normally using a Venn diagram, these sets are represented using the rectangle, universal set. And it contains everything currently under the execution. Okay, for example, say set U is equals to set of natural numbers from up to 100, 0, 1, 2, up to 99. So this is the universal set. Let us define set A. Set A is set of odd positive integers. Odd positive integers. So it will be 1, 3, 5 up to 99. Dot 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 up to 99. And set B as set of uh, even positive integers. So it will start from 2, 4, 6, dot 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 98. Or let us consider another example, say as C equals to set of positive integers which divides the number which are divisible by 3 or which are divisible by 5 or which are divisible by 7. So like that set also we can define. And all this A, B, C are subset of this universal set. That means here this universal set is containing everything currently under consideration. What we are considering here, consideration is set of positive integers or set of natural numbers up to 99. Set of natural numbers up to 99. And other considerations are odd positive integers up to 99, even positive integers up to 99, the set of positive integers divisible by 3 up to 99, and so on. So everything will be under consideration of this universal set. Or another example, say set of, let me clear this. Another example, say set of engineering students, set of engineering students of college, say XYZ. Set of engineering students of college XYZ. So here, what will be the other sets that we can define? Set of IT students of XYZ. Mechanical students of XYZ. Where this students of XYZ is said to be as a universal set. So if you draw this universal set, this IT, comp, mechanical, civil will be a disjoint sets, and this will be a universal set. Or you can define as placed students of college XYZ, or first class students of college XYZ, boy students of college XYZ, girl students of college XYZ. So here consideration is all the students of college XYZ. So we can call it as a universal set. The empty set is the set with no elements, symbolized as pi. But this symbol is also used. Okay, for example, say empty set is always represented as a pi. Or if you want to represent empty set as S is equals to, then this is a representation of a empty set. But if you are representing like this, so this is not an empty set. This set is containing an element which is pi. This set is containing element which is a pi. So empty set is either represented as this or represented as this. Okay, so universal set and the subset is represented as like this. So the universal set is set of all alphabets, and this V set is set of vowels. So here consideration is the set of alphabets. Some set characteristics. Set can be elements of sets. Set can be elements of a set. That means a complete set can be element of other set. The complete set can be element of other sets. Let us define this as S is equals to. So this opening curly bracket and up to this closing, up to this closing curly bracket, starting from here to here, is a one set. And what are the elements of this set? The first element is set itself. First element is a set itself. So this is the comma. That means there are three elements in this set. One, which is a set. Second, a plain element, and third, again a set. So 1, 2, 3 is a set. BC is a set, but these are part of this set. So set may contain the element as a set. The empty set is different from a set containing the empty set. So as I have told you, this and S equals to this and S equals to this is same. S equals to this and S equals to this is same. But if you are representing S equals to this, then this is not the same. This is a This is not an empty set. This particular is not an empty set. Set equality. So let us define what set equality means. Two sets are equal if and only if they have the same elements. Two sets are equal if and only if they have the same elements. For example, say set 1, 2, 3 and another set 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2, 3. Then we call these two sets as an equal set because the elements are same. Or set say 3, 2, 1 are equal set because the elements of this set are 1 to 3, elements of this set are 1 to 3. Order is not important. Order is not important. Two sets are equal if and only if they have the same elements. If A and B are sets, then A and B are equal if and only if for all x. This symbol is read as all. For all x, x belongs to A if and only if x belongs to B. So this symbol is read as if and only if. So element x will belong to A if and only if x is belonging to B. This symbol is belonging to A. Let us consider this as B. So this symbol is belonging to A if and only if this is belonging to B. So one is present here, one is present here. So this is the formal definition in terms of the quantifiers. It's written like this. So we write A. We write A equals to B if A and B are equal sets. For example, say 135 and 351 are equal sets. Then 1555, 331 are equal sets because the multiple occurrences will not affect this set. They are the same. Different order does not affect this set. The elements are same. Here it is 1, 3, 5. Here it is 1, 3, 5. Here it is a 1, 3 and 5. There is no other element other than 1 or 3 or 5. So that's why these are equal sets. Next, understand the subset. So first we will understand the proper definition of the subset. So it says that the set A is a subset of B. Set A is a subset of B if and only if every element of A is also an element of B. Every element of A is also an element of B. Let us describe the definition in terms of the notations. The notation A, this symbol is called for the subset. A is subset of B. This is read as a subset. A is subset of B is used to indicate that A is a subset of the set B. A is a subset of the set B. A subset of B holds if and only if. So what is the condition? X belongs to A. Then, so if X belongs to A, then X must belong to B. If X belongs to A, then X belongs to B. Is that true? Okay, for example, say if A is equals to 1, 2, 3 and B equals to 1, 2, 3, 7. Okay, now according to this definition, if X belongs to A, so if 1 is belonging to A, this 1 should belong to B, so which is true here. If 2 belongs to A, 2 should belong to B, which is true here. 3 belongs to A, so 3 belongs to B, which is true here. That means A is a subset of B. Now, can we say that B is subset of A? B is subset of A. Is this true? Let us check. First element of B, 1, which is also part of A. 2 is part of A. 3 is part of A. But 7 is not part of A. So, the B is not a subset of A. B is not a subset of A. Now, let us write another example. Say A, 1, 2, 3 and B, 2, 3, 1. Okay, can we say now A is subset of B? Yes, we can say. B is subset of A? Yes, we can say. So if A is subset of B and B is subset of A, that means A equals to B. Every element of set A is an element of set B. So empty set is subset of all the sets. Empty set is subset of all the set because A belongs to, sorry, A does not belong to empty is always a false. Is always a false. So that's why empty set is always a subset of any set. Yes is subset of yes for every set yes. Yes is subset of yes for every set yes. So the meaning of that is S equals to 1 to 3. That means S is subset of S. So if both the sets are equal, they are ultimately the subsets because A belongs to S and A belongs to S. So that's why every set is a subset of himself. Okay, now how to show that a set is or is not a subset of another set? So simply we can show this by to show that A is subset of B, show that if X belongs to A, then X also belongs to B. That we have shown now. To show that A is not a subset of B or A is not a subset of B, find an element X that belongs to A with X that does not belong to B. For example, say 1, 5, 7. A equals to B equals to 1, 7, 5, sorry, 1, 7, say this as 9. Okay, and now we want to prove that A is not a subset of B. A is not a subset of B. So for that reason, you need to find one element of set A, which is 5, which is not in B. So by only proving one element which is not a part of B, we can say that A is not a subset of B. But to show that A is subset of B, we will have to check all the elements of set A and whether they are in the set B or not. Equality of two sets, as I have told you, if A is subset of B and B is subset of A, then we call these two sets are equal. Next is proper subset. So now we have understood a subset. Now it has a word as a proper subset. So first we will understand the definition and then we will take an example to check the proper subset. So definition, if A is subset of B, but A is not equals to B. So this is very important for the definition of a proper subset. A is subset of B, but A is not equals to B, then we say that A is a proper subset of B denoted by A subset of B is proper subset. So this particular symbol is read as proper subset. Proper subset. If A is a proper subset of B, then for all X belongs to A, then X belongs to B. For all X belongs to A, then X belongs to B, and there exists an X. This symbol is read as there exists, or it can be read as for some. For there exists element X such that X belongs to B, but X does not belong to A. Okay. With the Venn diagram, this is shown as A is a proper subset of B, or let us define A equals to 1, 2, 3, and B equals to 1, 2, 3, 5. Okay, now A is proper subset of B. A is proper subset of B according to this definition. Now, what is this definition? For all X, X belongs to A, then X belongs to B. So 1 belongs to A, 1 belongs to B. 2 belongs to A, 2 belongs to B. 3 belongs to A, 3 belongs to B. Okay, and there is one more AND condition here. One more AND condition here. So what is this AND condition says? There exists X. There exists a X which belongs to B. There exists a X which belongs to B and which is not part of A. So like this, there exists a X. For example, here 5. There exists a 5 which belongs to set B, but it is not in set A. So in this case, we will call it as A is proper subset of B. And if the A set is 1 to 3, B equals to 1 to 3, then A is not proper subset of B, but it is a subset of B. Another way or another meaning is A should be a subset of B, but A should not be equals to B. Now here A and B are same, so that's why it is not proper subset, but it is a subset. So proper subset means there exists some element which is not in A, and A is subset of B. Next important thing that we need to understand the size of the set. So for performing the set operations or solving some numerical problems based on the principle of mutual inclusion and exclusion, we need to find the size of the set. And the size of the set is known as cardinality in mathematical language. We call it as a cardinality. Cardinality means number of elements in the set. So definition: if there are exactly n distinct elements in S, where n is a non-negative integer, non-negative and distinct, we say that S is a finite, otherwise it is a infinite. Definition: the cardinality of a set A is denoted by this symbol. Cardinality of A is the number of distinct elements of A. For example, cardinality of empty set. Cardinality of empty set, there are no elements in this set, so it is equals to 0. So let S be the letters of English alphabets, then cardinality of this set will be 26, because there are 26 alphabets in English. Cardinality of this set having the elements as 1, 2, 3, there are 3 elements, so its cardinality is 3. Cardinality of this set, now again you will have some confusion. S is equals to 5. This is not an empty set, it contains one element which is a empty set. So that's why this cardinality is equals to 1. And set of integers is infinite. We can't count that, so that's why it is infinite. Okay, now let us take one example. Say set S equals to 1, 1, 2, 2. So what is cardinality of this set S? So cardinality of this set is S is equals to 2, because it contains only 2 elements. So here it is written as distinct elements. Distinct elements. So distinct elements are only 2, 1 and 2. So don't consider their multiple occurrences. There are only 2 elements in the set. Next is a power set. So power set is the set of all subsets of the set A, denoted by P of A. Power set is a set of all subsets of A, denoted by P, is called as the power set of A. Example. For example, say A is containing 2 elements, A is equals to A comma B here. Then what can be the subsets of this set? So empty set is subset for all the set. Empty set is a subset of all the sets. So first subset is a 5. Then second, a set containing only one element A is a subset of this set. Am I right? Is a subset of this set. Second, the set which contains only element B, and third, which contains only element A comma B, are the subsets of this. Or if you consider, say, A equals to 1, 2, 3, then what are the possible power set of this A? So first element will be 5, second element will be 1, third a set containing only element 2, then element only containing 3, then set which contains elements as 1, 2, set which contains elements as 1, 3, set contains element as 2, 3, and set which contains elements as 1, 2, 3. So how many elements of this power set? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, equals to 8. Its cardinality is equals to 8. Cardinality of this set is equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, meaning of this is if there are n elements of the set, then the power set contains 2 raised to n elements. Power set contains 2 raised to n elements. So here it is containing 2 elements. So 2 raised to 2 is 4. So power set is containing 4 elements. Here we are considering this as a set. So it contains 3 elements. So 2 raised to 3 is 8. So it is containing 8 elements. So this is the important property about the power set. So same is written here. If a set has n elements, then the cardinality of the power set is 2 raised to n. So you should always remember number of elements in power set are equals to 2 raised to n, where n is number of elements in set. Here 2. Then one more example we have studied 3. So 2 raised to 2, 4 is a cardinality, and if the number of elements are 3, then 2 raised to 3 equals to 8 is the cardinality. Okay, now can you tell me if set A is containing elements as 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, what is the cardinality of power set? Cardinality of power set. So just count the cardinality of this, the number of elements of this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is 2 raised to 5 equals to 32. Simple. Okay, so with this, we have studied the different concepts about the set, standard sets like natural numbers, set of integers, real numbers. Then we have studied the definition of set, subset, proper subset, then the power set. Okay, in next lecture, we'll be studying about some more things about the set and its different properties. Thank you.